He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow them.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustad Layla Nashiba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
I'm teaching you guys how to pray the way that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to pray. I'm not using a book other than the authentic hadith books, the sunans of the prayer, the pillars of the prayer as detailed to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last time we met, we spoke about the pillars of the prayer. And we talked about how the pillars of the prayer are those things that we have to do. Otherwise, the pillars of the wudu. I'm sorry. We've been speaking about purification, and we talked about the pillars of the wudu. And the last time we met, we talked about how the pillars of the wudu are those actions that we have to do regarding purification, that if we don't do them, our wudu is not accepted. And as you all know, if the wudu is not accepted, that means that the prayer is not accepted as well. So we went over the wudu, and is there anyone who can tell us what are the pillars of the wudu? Is there anyone that can tell us, remind us what the pillars of the wudu are?
The pillars of wudu is your hands, your face, your arms, your head, and your feet.
Exactly. Those are the pillars of the wudu. And we talked about how a lot of Muslims don't understand the difference between just plain words, wash and wipe. When we make wudu over our head, are we washing our head or are we wiping over the head?
We're wiping over the head.
Okay, good. And how do we do that? How do we wipe over the head? Do I take some water, pour water in my hands, or cup water in my hands and then pour it over my head? Can anybody detail how do we do the head when we make wudu?
You just simply put the water in your hand, shake the water out so it's a little bit, your hands are still wet. Wipe over your head going forward, wipe over your head going backward.
Okay, exactly. That's it. You don't have to pour water over your head. I don't know. There's a lot of Muslims that think that we wash our hair when we're making wudu. No, you're not even doing the hair. You're doing the head, your head. And you go from the back to the front. You know, I'm going to wet my hands, shake them out, just keep my hands wet and just wipe like this. That's all. Wipe from the, like that. But I'm covering my head. Okay. And we also talked about how when it comes to wiping over the head, that we also do the ears, because the ears are part of the head. And we're going to talk about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did the ears today. So this is something I want you sisters to listen to, because we have a lot of fanatical men out there who think that they can teach you this religion And they'll even call themselves scholar and sheikh and mufti, but they don't know anything. I'm sorry. Titles come a dime a dozen. Okay, because we're not washing our hair when we make wudu. Anyone that tells you otherwise, I don't know who they think they are. Okay. And we also talked about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would wipe over his turban, or he'd wipe over his kufi. And for a woman, the same thing. You know, I can wipe over my hijab. But the thing is, there's a condition to that. I have to have made wudu over my head at least once before I wipe over my hijab. So that's why I was telling you, sisters, when you get up for Fajr, that's when you should make the wudu over your head. And then for the rest of the day, you can make wudu over your cap or your hijab or whatever. You can even put a hijab on. You don't have to have the hijab on. You can wait till it's time to make wudu, then put a hijab on and wipe over that hijab, as long as you're not traveling. Okay, if you're traveling, you got 3 days. If you're at home, once every 24 hours. So that's what we spoke about yesterday. I mean, the last time we met. And we also spoke about the feet. Are we, how do we do the feet? Do we stick the feet inside a bowl? Do we have to, and when we make wudu over the feet, do we have to immerse our feet in a bowl or a pot or a tub of water? Who can answer that? Making wudu over the foot, does this entail taking your foot and sticking it in a sink or in a bowl or in a tub of water, or immersing it completely in water? Does it entail that? Making wudu over the foot?
No, it just simply. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eva.
Thank you. No, you just put water in your hands, just spin it out and wipe over your feet.
Okay, and when we say the feet, what part of the feet?
The top.
Okay, you guys agree with her answer? Just the top? Just the top, Fatima, too?
Top, bottom, up to the heels.
No, I want y'all to remember, you have to wipe over the entire foot. The top, the bottom, and it's the heels. The whole foot. You're going to wipe the top, the bottom, and the heel. The only time you just wipe over the top is if I was wearing a shoe, or if I was wearing a sock. If I had a sock on or a shoe. But I'm not talking about the sock or shoe. I'm talking about the regular foot. So, and again, as we're going to talk about today, making wudu entails rubbing the water. That's all. You don't have to take your foot, lift it up, and put it in a sink. I don't even know where this came from, because the Prophet didn't have sinks back in his day. In the 6th century, they didn't have sinks. They didn't have toilets. They didn't have tubs, bowls, that type of stuff. Okay, so just to let everybody know, just to let everyone know, you do not have to take your foot and stick it in a sink or a tub or a bowl or anything. You don't even have to take your foot and immerse it in water. All you have to do is wet your hands with water like this, shake the water out, and then I'm going to rub it over the top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, the heel, and the ankle, all of that. The heel, the ankle, just rub the whole body part with water. That's all. That's all making wudu over the foot is. The same with the arms. You're going to make wudu. You're going to wet my hand, and just rub the water. Rub the water all over that arm. Remember, whatever body part that you're making wudu over, the face too, except for the head. The head, you just got to go back and forth. That one time back, one time forward. That's it. But even the face, you wet the water, wet your hands and just do this. Just wipe it, rub it over your face like that. That's all. Rub it over your face. That's it. You're not taking a bath like a lot of people want you to believe. So that's what we discussed the last time we met. And so today we're going to cover some of the sunnahs. And when you do the foot and the hands, you don't have to go in between the toes either. Just the top, the bottom, the ankles, the heel, that. But if you want to go into the hands, the toes, and in between, we're going to talk about that today. That's a sunnah, but it's not an obligatory practice. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And again, these are the sunnahs of the wudu that we're going to be speaking about today. And let's start it off here. A lot of people ask me, do you have to say Allah's name before you make wudu? In fact, one of the new shahadas texts me. She says, Sister Layla, I made wudu and I forgot to say Bismillah. Do I have to say Bismillah? Here's the correct answer. No, that's not a pillar of the wudu. There is a hadith that is not authentic. It's weak. There's a weak hadith that says this, okay? But again, no, nowhere did the Prophet say you have to say Bismillah. But of course, you know, it's a good thing to do because we always like to mention Allah's name, you know, I mean, before when we do something. I mean, it's a good thing to do. But if you don't say Bismillah, your wudu is still accepted. And what about this, brushing my teeth? We talked about how the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to make wudu and he would always brush his teeth. Is this something that we have to do? No, but it's something that the Prophet liked to do because cleanliness brings us closer to godliness, and Allah loves cleanliness. And as the Prophet told one of his wives, he said, I don't want to stand before my Lord reciting his words with my breath smelling bad. So the Prophet used to brush his teeth whenever he made wudu. In fact, we have this hadith here where the Prophet said, if it were not a hardship for the people, I would have ordered them to use a toothbrush every time they make wudu. So, you know, this is a sunnah. If you want to brush your teeth, you can, but it's not part of the wudu. And again, a toothbrush is the same as mishwak. I don't care what anybody tells you. They both serve the same purpose, to clean the teeth, to clean the teeth. So it doesn't have to be a mishwak. It can be a regular toothbrush. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the toothbrush purifies the mouth and it's pleasing to Allah. So you want to brush your teeth, you can. It doesn't have to be with a mishwak. It can be with any type of toothbrush. And also, just for your information, there were other times too that the Prophet would brush his teeth. He used to brush it every time he made wudu. He would brush it before he prayed or made dua. He would, even before he read the Quran, he would brush his teeth. And even when he woke up in the morning, and whenever the taste in his mouth changed, because again, Allah loves beauty and Allah loves cleanliness. And as he told Salama, and as he told Aisha, radiallahu anha, he told them both, he said, should I not stand before my Lord with clean breath, with a sweet smelling mouth? Okay. We have this hadith here from one of the companions, Ibn Rabia. He said, I have seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on countless occasions using a toothbrush, even when he fasted. And we talk about that during Ramadan. Even when we're fasting, we can brush our teeth. And yes, you can use toothpaste. You can use mouthwash and all of that. If the Prophet were living, he would brush his teeth with toothpaste. He would use mouthwash because cleanliness is what brings us closer to Allah. And also, after using the toothbrush, we should clean it. We have this hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. He said when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would use his toothbrush, he would give it to me and I would wash it. And I would use it. Then I'd wash it again and I'd give it back to him. So again, cleanliness is everything. And you guys might want to remember these hadiths for Saturday. For Dr. Asim's class, he's speaking about cleanliness in Islam. These are all hadiths that you guys can remember to use to show the importance of cleanliness in Islam. Even if a person doesn't have any teeth, it's from the Sunnah to use your fingers to clean your mouth. Oh, yes, because even without teeth, your breath will stink. I know when I used to work before I retired, a lot of my clients didn't have any teeth. They had, they didn't have any teeth. So what we did, we still would brush their gums. They still had a toothbrush and we would brush their gums. Or I would, if they didn't have a toothbrush or their gums were too sensitive, I would take a Q-tip and I would dip it in mouthwash. And I would use that Q-tip to clean their gums. And then my clients loved it because no one likes their breath to taste nasty or be smelly. We have this hadith from Aisha where Aisha said, "O Prophet of Allah, how should a toothless person clean their mouth?" The Prophet said, by using his fingers. And this hadith is authentic. So again, these are all hadiths that you guys can remember for Dr. Asim's class on Saturday, where he's going to be speaking about cleanliness in Islam. So it's a sunnah that even when you make wudu to brush your teeth, the Prophet did. Do you have to do it? No. And it's not an innovation to do it, because innovation is to introduce something into the way we worship Allah that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not introduce. Our Prophet did it, so we can do it. Okay. And also, we had a person ask the question, how many times to wash the hands? You can do it 3 times if you want, because we do have a hadith, whereas one of the companions said he saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam make wudu and he washed his hand 3 times. And also, I want you guys to teach your children that when they wake up, if you take a nap or go to sleep, when you wake up, the first thing we should do is wash our hands, because you don't know where your hands been when you were sleeping. The Prophet Muhammad said, whenever you wake up from sleep, do not put your hands into a pot of food until you wash your hands 3 times, because you don't know where your hand was while you slept. Okay. So again, this is more hadiths you can use with Dr. Asim's class on Saturday as to how Islam addresses the importance of cleanliness. Okay, but it doesn't have to be 3. You can wash your hands once, twice, or 3 times, but not more than 3 times. The same with the mouth. The mouth is another sunnah, and the nose. The mouth and nose are sunnahs of the prayer. The Prophet said whenever you make wudu, you should rinse your mouth, and also you should rinse the nose. How do we do the nose? By snuffing water up and then blowing it out. You can do it 3 times if you want, or you can do it once, or you can do it twice. And we have the hadith here where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you make wudu, you should sniff water up your nose and blow it out. And you can put them in both. You can use the right hand to put the water in your nose, to suck it in the nose. And then you can use the left hand to blow it out, like this, and then this and this. We have the hadith, whereas Ali once called for the water to make wudu with. He rinsed his mouth and he snuffed the water up into his nostrils with his right hand and blew it out with his left. He did it 3 times and said, this is how the prophet would do. But again, I want you to know you can do them both too. Some people can put it up in their nose and the mouth at the same time and blow it out. Okay, so understand that you can do it any, oh, let me move this down so y'all can see too. Yeah, let me take it down. Yeah, there it is. There's the other hadith. We have another hadith that says he would rinse his mouth and nose with 3 scoops of water. He would do it all at the same time, like that, so you can do it either one of those ways. And again, it doesn't have to be 3 times. It can be once, it can be twice or 3 times, but no more than 3. Also, another sunnah for you brothers who have a beard is to run your hands through the beard like this. Aisha radiallahu anha says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do like this. He would run his hands through his beard like that. We have another hadith whereas Anas said that when the Prophet made wudu, he would take a handful of water, put it underneath his chin, like his jaw like this, and run it through his beard like that. And he was asked why he does that. And he said, because Allah commanded him to. So that's also for those of you who have a beard, you brothers, you do the nose, the mouth, and then if you want to do this and run the hand through the beard, you can. Okay. Now, running the water through your fingers and toes. This is not a pillar. This is a sunnah too. You don't, and also taking off the jewelry. A lot of people say, can I make wudu with my rings on? Yes, it's a sunnah. If you want to take them off, you can. We do have hadiths, whereas the Prophet would take his ring off, but we also have hadiths where he didn't. In fact, here's one. Ibn Abbas said that when the Prophet made wudu, he would run his fingers through his toes and fingers like this. This is a sunnah. Running your fingers through your toes is a sunnah. You don't have to. All you have to do is rub the top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, the ankles, and the heels. But if you want to go through the toes to make sure you get some more stuff in there, you can. And again, it can be 3 times or 2 times or once. And here's the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have this hadith. A Bedouin came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him how to make wudu. So the Prophet showed him how to wash each part, and he did it 3 times. He said, whoever does more than this has committed a sin. So you can do 3 times, but no more. We have another hadith from Uthman. Uthman also said the Prophet would repeat each washing 3 times, but no more than that. Then we have hadiths from Bukhari and Muslim, where the Prophet would sometimes make wudu over his body parts once. Sometimes he make wudu over his body parts twice, and then sometimes 3 times. But all the hadiths show that he only did the head once. This was a question that one of the sisters asked. Do you go over the head 3 times? No, the Prophet always did the head once. But, the other parts of the body, you can do it once, you can do it twice or 3 times. But no more than 3 and no less than 1. Okay, take a screenshot of all these hadiths. Okay. And y'all see that picture of the foot. All you're doing is wiping, taking your hand, and that's your wet hand, and just rubbing it over the top of the foot, the ankle, and the bottom. If you want to do the toes, you can, but you don't have to. But you do not have to take your foot and stick it in a tub or put it in a sink. I don't know where this innovation came from, where people tell you that if you don't, and I call it innovation because we got people that say if you don't stick your foot in a bucket, your wudu's not accepted. I don't know where they got that from. That's not from our prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. And again, this is another Sunnah. It's from the Sunnah that whenever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did anything, he would begin with the right side. And this is told to us by Aisha, radiallahu anha. He said the Prophet would begin with his right side while putting on his shoes, while combing his hair, while cleaning or purifying himself. When he took a ghusl, a bath, he would wash the right side of his body first. Now, do you have to do this? No. Do I have to put my right shoe on first? No. Do I have to comb the right part of my hair first? No. But it's a sunnah. It's what the Prophet used to do. And a lot of people ask, why would you do that? Well, this shows our love for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the ways of showing love for him is to emulate him in everything that he did. We also have this hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you dress yourself or wash yourself, begin with your right side. But you don't have to. But it's how he taught. Because remember, the Prophet taught the Arabs how to be clean. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to teach us good manners, good habits. And by teaching us good manners and good habits, this is teaching us Islam. So when he taught the Arabs how to clean themselves and dress themselves correctly, he always began with the right side. And again, here's the hadith. When I told you when you're making wudu, you want to rub your hands over whatever the body part is with water. Here's the dalil. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was brought a pot of water, which he used to make wudu, and he rubbed the water over his arms. He rubbed the water over his feet. He did not stick his feet in the pot of water. That little bitty pot is what he would use to make wudu for the whole week. And it wasn't big enough to put a foot in it. Okay. So we have another hadith that states the Prophet, when he made wudu, he would rub the body part, rub the limb. So this is what we're doing. We're just rubbing, like I showed you, rubbing the water over everything except the head. The head, we're just going to wet the hand and go back forth. That's it. Back one time and forth. That's it. And always follow the sequence. You cannot make wudu out of the sequence. Each bodily part must be washed right after the other in the prescribed manner. This is the practice of the companions. So in other words, I'm not going to start with my feet. I'm not going to start with my head. I'm going to follow the sequence that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam followed. Okay. And again, the ears. Here's the dalil. One of the brothers, I had one of the brothers here the other day, and this is the problem. Let me talk about this for a second. It's always drama. This is the problem and the dangers of not believing in the hadiths. I don't know how you can consider yourself a Muslim if you do not believe in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, because that's the second part of the Shahada. There's a lot of brothers, a lot of sects out there, a couple of sects that claim that they only believe in the Quran. Well, they got some problems. You got some serious problems. You better hope you don't die upon just that belief. Because as our prophet Muhammad said, you will never understand the Quran until you learn my Sunnah. This is the dangers of not learning the hadiths. A brother told me the other day, he sent me a long email, some fatwa from some innovative website, saying that you don't have to do that. Allah doesn't mention the ears in the Quran. And since Allah doesn't mention the ears in the Quran, I was teaching you guys wrong. Well, that's what happens when you don't believe in the Sunnah. That's why you got to question whether you're even a Muslim. Are you even a Muslim? Because here it is. It's from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to wipe the interior of the ears with the index fingers and the exterior with the thumb. The water used to wipe the head is the same water that's used for the ears. Why? Because the ears are part of the head. Where's my evidence? You have to know the hadiths. We have the hadith of Ibn Ma'ad Yaqra. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped his head and his ears, the interior and the exterior, while making wudu. And he also put his finger inside his ear. There's the source. What's the source? Dawood and Atahawi. Okay. And when the Prophet did that, that's when he said the ears are part of the head. This is why you have to know those hadiths. How can you call yourself a Muslim and say you don't believe? The only hadith you believe in is Riyadh al-Salihin and the 40 hadiths of Imam Nawawi. I don't understand that. I don't know where this, like I said, this is why Allah is sent this. This is why Allah sent all this calamity. So again, and like I said, all the authentic hadiths show that the Prophet only did the head and ears with one wipe, just once, not 3 times. Here's one of the hadiths. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said he wiped his head and ears with one wipe. And look at the source. Look at the source. This is authentic. And by the way, Riyadh al-Salihin and the 40 hadiths of Imam Nawawi are not sources. It's just a book put together by Imam Nawawi, books where he took hadiths, okay, and put them together as reminders for us. But we never use Riyadh al-Salihin and the 40 hadiths as a source, okay? Anyone that does that is a person that's not too intelligent about Islam. All right. But look at the sources. This is Ahmed Dawood. Okay. These hadiths are authentic. And also we have another hadith where it says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped the inner portion of his ears with the index finger and the outer portion with his thumb. And again, this is a sunan. The ears are a sunan too. Exactly, Brother Edward. The nose, the mouth, these are all sunans. Exactly. And we do the sunans because they add more power to the action. They bring more rewards to us. Whenever we emulate our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that increases our reward. And also the sunans, they make up for the mistakes of the prayer. So the simple fact that you used to rinse your nose and mouth and you did your ears, you know, subhanAllah, Allah will say, well, she had a mistake in her concentration. On January 10th, she made dua, but her mind was so busy focusing on the final exam she had to take that day in school that she didn't give me her concentration. But that's okay. When she made wudu that day, she included in her wudu her nose, her mouth, and her ears. And she even did the in between her toes, which she didn't have to do. So I'm going to take those sunnahs from her wudu and make up for the distraction she had for the prayer. And we're going to talk about that in another class. That's why we do the sunnahs too. The Prophet Muhammad said the sunnahs make up for any defects that we had with our prayers. So you brothers who don't believe in the hadiths, like I said, your aqidah is questionable, period, dot. But let's just say that Allah accepts that. And let's say that in all your prayers, you had distractions, or maybe you forgot something, or you pronounced Fatiha wrong. Allah's going to ask the angels, does he have any sunnahs? And they're going to say no. So then Allah will say, well, guess what? I'm not accepting this prayer for you. Had you done some sunnahs, I would have maybe accepted this. So that's the importance of doing the sunnahs. So even though the ears, the nose, the mouth are sunnahs, wiping in between the toes is a sunnah, wiping in between the fingers, you know, we should try to do them, guys, because they make up for any defects in our prayer. And here's another sunnah. You may hear some people talk about this, and I put this hadith here because another one of the brothers, Brother Amir, he asked me, where did it come from? Some of the brothers make wudu, and when they do their arms, they'll take it up to their elbow, past their elbow, or they'll make wudu over their feet and take it up past to their calf. They're doing that based on this hadith here. This is the hadith that I found for you. This is the hadith where the prophet says that my nation will come with bright streaks of light from the traces of their wudu. And if you can lengthen your streak of light, then do so. Some of the companions, not all, but some of the companions, such as Abu Hurairah interpreted this saying of the prophet to mean that when you wash your arms, extend it, go above the elbows. And when you wash your feet, take it to the calf. But that was Abu Hurairah's opinion. Like I told you guys, remember I told you guys a few months ago that there were only several issues. There's only several issues that the companions really disagreed on. And one of you asked me what were them, and I told you I ain't gonna get into it because I didn't want to. Well, this is one of the issues. It was not the hijab. It was nothing dealing with women. This is one of the issues. Abu Hurairah interpreted that hadith to mean that when you make wudu, take it up a little higher. But Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar, they said no. They say that doesn't mean extend it. That means just make wudu more. Even if you didn't break your wudu, go make one anyway, because it's going to make that body part brighter. So which opinion do you follow? I follow the opinion of Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar. Why? Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar, they out trump Abu Hurairah. You got to know that hierarchy. You know, so I agree with them that when the prophet said, increase your light, that he meant, you know, even if you don't break your wudu, go ahead and make one anyway, because it's going to make that part brighter. Okay, but we do have this authentic hadith of Abu Hurairah. He was one of the eminent companions. So for those brothers who do follow that belief, can we say they're wrong? No. It's just that I personally choose to go with the understanding that Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar had, and Aisha radiallahu anha. Aisha radiallahu anha had the same view too. And you know me, I'm an Aisha girl. Okay, so but this is where they base it on, brother. And the hadith is authentic. The hadith about extend, you know, about increase your light. It's a Bukhari hadith. It's a Muslim hadith. Okay, but this is the way Abu Hurairah interpreted the meaning, and he's the one He's the one that would, when he made wudu, he would wash his arms above the elbows and his feet up to his calves. And the other companions asked him why he did it. He said, because this will extend my light. But when they went and told Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar what he said, they said the hadith, what he said is true. The prophet did say that. Okay, but the prophet didn't mean take it up like that. He meant make wudu as often as you can. That's all. So either way, it's correct. Okay, but that's where that came from. And that's why I put this hadith here. Okay, it's nothing to argue about. It's nothing to fight about. It's not a biggie. All right, so that's where we're going to stop today.